Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back. I have missed you. I know that yous have missed me. It's been a little over a week since I last uploaded. So I told you I'm trying to stay on this, stay consistent. So yeah, I'm back with another video. But before I start, please ignore this monstrosity on my lip. I have a cold sore. I'm just really tired, really run down. So this is what happens when I'm feeling like that, get a cold sore. But I thought, you know what, I'm not going to let that stop me from doing this video. So I'm going to get straight into it. I'm not even going to hang around because you don't know I can chat the most. So I just want to get into the video. So yeah, this is my top 5 parenting tips. So I am no parenting expert. I'm not the perfect mom, nothing like that. But on a regular basis, like I'm talking regular, I always get asked, like, oh, how do you cope with all your kids? Oh my God, I've got less kids than you, and I can't sort my kids out, and all different types of things. People always ask me how I cope with 5 kids. These are just things that have worked for me, and things that I think help in regards to parenting. Now, I may be completely wrong. If you guys have any parenting tips that I don't talk about, please comment down below and let me know. Let me know what you do in your household and with your children, and what helps you in your day-to-day parenting, because it is not easy. Being a parent is not easy. I think that when I had my first child, it was kind of a breeze. I found it like a breeze, really. And the more I've had, the more they test me, honey. The more they test me. Let's just get straight to it. So yeah, number 1, routine. Oh my gosh, I can't say it loud enough. Routine. But I think having routine is really, really important. Some people may disagree, and that's totally fine. But I think having routine and just knowing what you're doing with your day then allows you to know what your children are doing with their day. So for me, my household, my children go to bed at 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. Now, some people will be like, oh my God, that is too early. I don't know how you get your kids to bed at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock is bedtime. Now, that is of a weekday. So when the children have got school and nursery, throughout the week, I like them to get a good night's sleep. So 6 p.m, my children go to bed and they wake up. God, to be honest, it could be 5 o'clock that they wake up, it could be 6 o'clock that they wake up, it could be 6:30 that they wake up, but they do get a good 11 to 12 hours sleep. They really do. Now, my oldest child is 7. She has had a routine since a few months old. Like, obviously when you first have a baby, you don't know what they're like. It's hard to get that routine. But once I got into the swing of getting her into a routine, it worked well. She would have like her bath time at a certain time. She would have her dinner at a certain time. She'd have her nap time in the day at a certain time. So everything was kind of, it didn't have to be bang on the dot like up the time, but it was around that time. So all my kids have had a routine. When I had my second child, I kind of brought her slowly into the routine. And then I had my son, I had my other daughter, and obviously I've recently had my little boy. So I just think a routine is so good, and it makes my kids know what's happening, if that makes sense. Like, we wake up, they'll probably, like, I mean, of a school morning, we're up, we're active, we're in the bathroom, we're getting ready, we're getting washed, dressed, downstairs for breakfast. I can then get myself ready, I can sort the baby out if he needs feeding, and then we can leave on time. And I just think it's just so good to have a routine. Otherwise, some households are chaotic. Now, if that's what works for you, that's fine. But I like to have a peaceful household. I don't want my household to be chaotic. I don't want my kids to be up at 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't want that. I want my kids to have a good bedtime so they can function through the day, just like we need to function. I think kids need to function as well. So having like a good set routine, knowing what time they wake up, kind of, giving them their breakfast around that time, giving them their lunch. Obviously, it can change day to day because you might be out, you might be on holiday, things like that. In the summer holidays, in half term, when the kids haven't got school or nursery, they can go to bed that little bit later. But because my kids have been going to bed at 6 o'clock for so long, they don't tend to stay up that late. Like, the latest they'll probably stay up is probably like 8:30, and then they'll go to bed because they're tired, just because their body knows like the routine. So I just think having routine is really, really, really helpful. Like, yeah, I mean, it's hard if you've never had a routine and you're kind of trying to implement that, but try anyway. And I think it just makes things better, it makes things smoother, and it allows you to be on time. If you've got to be somewhere for a certain time, whether that's school, whether it's you're going to work, whether you've got to go and get the bus at a certain time, whether you've got to catch a particular train, whether you've got an appointment at the doctor's, appointment at the dentist, or whatever, it allows you to be on time. If your house is just chaotic, you're probably not even looking at the time. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, routine is great. Works for my children anyway. Not sure if it's going to work for everyone, but give it a go. Discipline. Now, it is hard to discipline children, especially when it's your own child, because that is your child. You don't want to see your child upset. You don't want to feel like you're the one who has upset your child. You don't want to be that one who's made your child cry, and then it's like, mummy made me cry, and then it kind of guilts you into feeling like, oh, I shouldn't have told them off. Now, so having discipline, don't feel like you're the bad parent for disciplining your child. Now, I'm not saying whoop your child, you know, I'm not saying beat the crap out of them, none of that, yeah. Like, I mean, if that's what you do, great, but, you know, discipline them. And you don't have to discipline them in like the most vicious way. Now, don't get me wrong, when I discipline my children, if anything, it's my mouth. My mouth's loud. I am loud. Like, I'm naturally loud. So when I discipline them, I'm like, listen, stop doing that, or whatever. But discipline them, and also explain to them why you have disciplined them, why you've told them off, why you've took something away from them. If you know, they've been rude, or, you know, they've been misbehaving or not being nice or whatever, explain to them, I'm telling you off because of such and such. And I think that's a good way, because then I've noticed that when I explain to my child why I've told them off, it does actually calm them down, and it makes them think like, okay, I'm not just getting told off for nothing. I'm getting told off because, you know, mommy said I've done this, or daddy said I've done that, or whatever. Discipline your kids. Don't feel guilty. Like, you are... One thing that I always say is your child is not your friend. Your child is not your friend. Many people may disagree. Your child is not your bedroom. They're not your bedroom. They're not your homie. They're not you know, you're rolling out and you're doing this and you're doing that. No, they are your child, and you have to guide them. You are the person they look up to. You are their safe space. They want you to... They need the discipline as well. Kids need that. They need some type of direction, and not disciplining your children. Don't get me wrong, disciplined children can grow to be quite rebellious in some ways, but I think at a young age, it is good to have that. It's, you know, you're teaching them, you're telling them, you know, the right from wrong, and showing them a better way. Do you know what I'm saying? Explain to them, like, you know, don't do that because it can upset someone. Don't do that because you may hurt yourself. Don't do that because, you know, you can injure yourself. You know, things like that, depending on what it is. But discipline your children, and don't let your child guilt trip you. They are not your homie. They're not, you know, your little friend here and there from down the road. This is your child. And I think sometimes when parents let their children kind of be, it's like a friendship, I feel like the disrespect happens. Do you know what I mean? That's what I think personally. I could be totally wrong, you know, not everyone's going to agree with me, but, you know, this is not your friend. This is your child. So discipline them in the way that you feel to discipline them, but also explain, like I said, explain to them, I've disciplined you because you was rude, you was cheeky, you wasn't listening, you've done this or whatever. I mean, yeah, I mean, and even if it's like confiscating something, like, take that off them, but tell them, oh, you're not having this, or we're not gonna go there, or we're not gonna do this because you wasn't listening. You know, discipline, I think it's really, really, really important. And I know it's hard because your child cries and then you feel bad and then you want to hug them. But I'm never going to reward my child for misbehaving. I'm not going to reward you. And I'm not really going to give you a hug either. Like, that might sound a bit harsh, but I'm not going to discipline you and then be like, oh, come, let's hug it out. No, you need to understand why I disciplined you and you need to behave. But set the intention. Now, what I mean by set the intention is when I'm going out with my children, whether it's food shopping, whether it's to somebody's house, whether it's to the park, whether I've got an appointment somewhere and I've got to bring the children with me or whatever it is, before I leave that house, before they even put their shoes and coat on, I let them know. Like, for example, if I say, right, we're going food shopping today, my children will say, Mom, can you buy me sweets? Can you buy me sweets? And it's like, listen, I always say to my children, like, sometimes I do buy them a little treat. They might get a little sweet, they might get to pick like some donuts today, they might get to pick like some cookies or whatever it is. But sometimes it's not that, it's just pure food shopping and we're coming home. And I let them know before we leave, like, today we're not buying anything. Even though I've got the money to buy some sweets, it's like, today, no, you can't. My children anyway, they can't always expect to get something just because we're going to the shop. Now, some kids will feel like, oh, Mummy's going to the shop, so I can get a drink, I can get a lolly, I can get a magazine, I can get a pack of crisps. And that's all good and well, but not all the time. Not all the time. They have to understand that you can't just expect something all of the time. Whether that's from me, whether that's from their dad, whether that's from their nan, whether that's from their granddad, whether that's from their aunties, uncles, whatever. They can't always expect something. And I also tell them how I expect them to behave. Like, if I'm going to someone's house, whether it's family or friends, I always say, we're going to such and such's house. Please don't walk in that house and be saying, I'm thirsty, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I want a drink. Like, no, don't go into someone's house and start asking. I don't like that. I don't like it. I find it really embarrassing when my kids go to somebody's house and be acting like they're hungry, because I always feed my kids before I go somewhere, unless we're going out for food. I'll always give them something beforehand, so then my kids ain't hungry, you know what I'm saying? But they will act like, and I don't like it. I always tell them how to behave. If we're going into town, town's quite busy, I always say, we're going into town today, I don't want to hear no nonsense. Now, don't get me wrong, it doesn't always work. My kids will still play me off, they'll still probably ask me for things and stuff like that, but I make it clear to your children, this is what we're doing today and this is how I expect you to behave. Now, you know what kids are like, they're going to test you, and I think it is known that children do play up more for their mums, apparently so. Obviously everyone's household's different. Some people may not have the mum in the household, or they may have the dad in the household, so they may put up for the dad. But it is like in the statistics that children tend to pay up more for their mums. My kids pay up for me all the time. Thank God for their dad. Because, when daddy's home, it's like, shit, daddy's home, need to behave. But, yeah, tell them, let them know how you expect them to behave before you even leave the house. Set that intention, make it clear. So, when you do go out and they start ramping, all you need to do is just give them one look. And they'll stop. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't, honey. But, yeah, set that intention, make it clear. Like, don't be doing this, don't be carrying on like that. And, you should have a, smooth sailing day, but set that intention, make it clear. Follow through. I feel like I learned this kind of from my mum. I'm sure my mum was kind of like this. Basically, I am that parent that if my child does something where I have to take a toy away, or like, for example, my daughter's got, my oldest daughter, she's 7, she's got a tablet. If she does, for example, if she was to do something which I thought, right, I'm taking the tablet off you today, I wouldn't then give it her back in a couple of hours just because she's behaved. That's it. If my son's rude, or he's misbehaving, or he hits his sisters, or whatever it might be, and I say, right, Rakeem, you're not having any sweets now today because you was rude. That's how it will be for the day. I'm not then going to give it him because he started to behave. I'm not just going to be like, oh, you can have it now because you've been good for the last 3 hours. No, I've made it clear that today, that is it. You're not having it for the day. So even if your behaviour improves, you're still not having it. I'm a follow-through parent. If I say you're not having it, that is it. And I know it's hard. It is hard. Sometimes I just think, oh, I should just give her back the toy, man. Or I should just give him back, whatever, or I should just give him the sweet. But then I think, no, because that's not teaching them. That is kind of like I'm rewarding you for bad behaviour. And then they will think, oh, I can be naughty again. After a couple of hours, Mum will give it me. No. When I say no, it's no. So follow through. Don't be afraid to follow through. Tell your kids. And like I said, it's hard. It's definitely hard. It's easier said than done. But follow through, man. Follow through. Because I haven't reached the stage where my children are teenagers, and I can't imagine how they're going to be. I'm nervous, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't got to that teenage parenting yet. So I don't really know what to expect. But I'm trying to implement things to help them in the future. And nobody's perfect. I don't expect my children to be perfect. But I think these little things here, they can remember. And even when they're older, and if my children end up having children when they're older, they might remember, like, you know what, when I was young, my mum used to say this. Because there's things that my mum used to say that I remember now that I try to tell my children. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, follow through with your kids. Don't be afraid to take the sweet off them. If anything, you're helping them. You're helping their teeth, you know? You ain't gotta eat sweets all day anyway. And yeah, follow through. Don't be afraid to follow through, honey. Be organised. Be organised. I am a very organised person. I don't know where I get it from. Maybe my parents. I don't know. I'm extremely organised. I think being organised for me, it actually helps me mentally. If my house is tidy, if I'm organised, if I'm ready for the next day, if I'm prepared in the morning and we leave the house on time, I feel good. It makes me feel good, and I think it helps my children to be organised as well. Bleh, can't get my words out. Your children have got school in the morning. Get their clothes out the night before. It doesn't take that long. Get their clothes out the night before. Do your children have PE? Get their PE kit out the night before. Nyla and Sophia, they have PE on different days. I always make sure they've got their PE kit, like little things like that. Do things like before. If you've got to be somewhere, if you've got to go and get a train at 6 o'clock in the morning, get your clothes out the night before so you know exactly what you're wearing, because there's nothing worse. I say women because women are just more like this. Nothing worse than you waking up in the morning, you don't know what to wear. You've got so many clothes and you don't know what to wear, and you've spent 20 minutes searching, and you're late. Be organised. At the end of the day, when your children go to bed, as much as at 6 o'clock when my children go to bed, as much as I just want to go into my bed and sleep, I do little things around the house, even if it's running the hoover around, because my children don't wake up to the hoover. So even if it's like running the hoover around, or like I said, getting their clothes out the day before, or if you've got to make a packed lunch, if you're someone who makes your sandwiches in the morning, then get the rest of the stuff out in your lunchbox the night before, things like that. Then do your sandwiches. Even getting up 15 minutes earlier than what you would. Now it's hard when you're in your bed, it's warm, it's cozy, you don't want to get up, outside's cold. I swear, getting up that little bit earlier, just to give yourself that little time, even if it's just waking up, even if it's just making a cup of coffee, even if it's just rubbing your eyes for a quick 10 minutes just to get yourself out of bed. Get up, be organised. Seriously, it will help, because I recently had a baby. He's 7 weeks old nearly, and I've had to kind of adjust the time that I get up. So I do get up, even if it's about half an hour, 40 minutes earlier. That way I can sort him out, then he'll go back to sleep, and it allows me to get everybody else ready. It allows the kids to have breakfast, and then we leave on time. Be organised. I think it's really, really, really important. So those are my top 5 parenting tips. Now, like I said, it ain't gonna work for everyone, but I hope that you've took something from the video, whether you're already a parent, whether that's a dad or a mom, a step parent, whatever, or a soon-to-be parent, or going to be a parent in the future type thing. I hope you took some tips from this video, and if you guys have any tips, then let me know, because like I said, I'm not a perfect parent. These are just little things that I think you could implement in your household that may help things run a bit smoother, because as we know, kids ain't easy. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's a bit of a quick one. But yeah, I just wanted to get it out there. Like I said, a lot of people ask me, how do I do it? So these are the main things that I do to help my household run a bit smoother. My kids get on my nerves all day, but definitely I will say the top one is routine. Get that routine, guys. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Please give me a thumbs up. Click subscribe to my channel, and also I'll be dropping 2 videos a week, so I've got another video coming after this one, so I will see you in that, guys. Mwah. You know.